What you have here is the Karcher K2 Premier Full Control Karcher machine. What you'll find with these Karchers is that after about 12 months the brushes which are on the motor wear down, and you'll find that smoke starts to come from the motor, and then all of a sudden it'll stop and it actually sort of knacks the motor. If you every 12 months, if you change your brushes, it'll prevent that from overheating and basically knocking the spindle on them. There's 6 screws on the back that you need to take off, and it's a T15 bit that you need to use. I've already pre-dismantled it, and it's your either side on the bottom, and then it's just 4 screws onto the handle on them 4 screws there. By taking them off, and you've got one just above the power cable. That then takes the back off and exposes the internal parts, the internal mechanism of it. What you have here is the part where the handle goes on, the gun, in the gun part. What you need to do is lift this main unit, and all you do is you lift it, give it a bit of a twist, and it'll disconnect that part. It'll disconnect this part from that part, which then you can get to this part of the unit. I've pre-dismantled it. I'll just take the cover off here and show you where the brushes are. Right. Now this is the part, that's the motor. That's the motor that you're looking at. And then what you're looking at on here, on the side, is where the brushes are. Basically that is the part, I don't know whether you can see that, where that wire's going into, that's the brushes. Now you've got a tension spring, which is just on the back there. You've got a tension spring, I'll show you 2 seconds. You've got a tension spring here, that's on a loop. There's a bar that comes across and it pushes onto the back of the brush. That keeps the brush impacted against your motor down the back there. What you do is you lift that off, put it on the back. Then what you can do is you can pull your worn brushes out. However, this unit that I've got here is a new unit, and I've dismantled it to show you exactly how that you take the brushes out. That's your brushes, but you'll find out that when you do take it out, or you can check them to see how far they're worn down, but they'll only last really about 12 months if you're using it regular. You'll probably find out that you'll only have a couple of mil of the brush left on here, where this is a full new brush. So what it does is it pushes against this part here, pushes against there, which is your spindle that spins round. The brushes are impacted against that, and that's how it wears down. If you just change it every 12 months, only £2 or £3 to buy, and then what you do is you basically just put it back into the set. Slot them back in, push it back down, and then basically push the clip back across, and that locks it back in place and then compresses it. If you do that, if you change them every 12 months, you'll have the unit running and it'll have a breakdown. The only things that wear on these machines is the brushes. You can see, on the motor there, either side of the motor, if I can get right in, you can see the brushes that are push against the spindle, which is this part. So this spins, so when you activate the machine, that's spinning, and it's basically pushing against the 2 brushes that activate the electricity through onto the spindle, and that's how the machine runs. When them wear down, it gets to a certain point that they get that worn, and it's metal on metal, and it can sometimes break this part of the spindle. If you catch it beforehand, you'll prevent that from happening. Even if you do take them off and it's halfway down, it's better to change them over for the price. That'll prevent them from being worn down any further. But I would suggest that you change them every 12 months. Just like any motor that's spinning, they have brushes, carbon brushes. If you look for the part number, so it'll be a karcher K2, Premier Control, Full Control, and you can get them off eBay or you can get them from Karcher themselves, and it's carbon brushes. You can get universal ones that'll work exactly the same, but you've got to make sure that it's the same millage on the width and the thickness of them for them to fit into there. But you'll see that motor, and it's got a brush on either side. Once them brushes are worn down, you can't actually touch the spindle with the brushes. That's when the machine will stop, because there's no power getting to the motor. It's quite easy to change them over, and it's this part, this here, which is the connector for them. So when you get the new ones, you'll have the brush, copper wire, and you'll have a connector piece on the end. To get them off, what you need to do is basically just push onto the tag in the middle there, right on there, and then push them back. Them will come off. So you'll have two on either side. You take the same on the other side. You take the spring, push it to one side, take the carbon brush off, put the new one in, and then connect it. And on the other side, change the two of them over. And as long as you do that, your karcher will keep working fine.